Hari Om. We meet again for the next avatara in the story series of the Dashavatara. And what are the avatars we've seen so far? We've completed 6 avatars of Lord Vishnu. And what are these avatars? Let us recap this whole thing through the Dashavatara Stotram. Of course, every stanza is one avatara and the name is very much in the stotram itself. Alright, so we will chant the Dashavatara Stotram now. नामस्मरणादन्योपायं नहि पश्यामो भवतरणे राम हरे कृष्ण हरे तव नाम वदामि सदा नृहरे वेदोद्धार विचारमते सोमकदानव संहरणे मीनाकार शरीर नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् मन्थानाचलधारण हेतु देवासुर परिपालन भोः कूर्माकार शरीर नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् भूचोरकहर पुण्यदमूर्ते क्रोढोद्धृत भूतेश हरे क्रोढाकार शरीर नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् हेमकशिपुतनुधारण हेतु प्रह्लादासुरपालन भोः नरसिंहाच्युत रूप नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् बलिमदभञ्जन विततमते पादाद्वयकृतलोककृते पटुवटुवेशमनोज्ञ नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् क्षितिपतिवंशसम्भवमूर्ते क्षितिपतिरक्षाक्षतमूर्ते भृगुपति रामवरेण्य नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् सीतावल्लभदाशरथे सीतावल्लभदाशरथे दशरथनन्दन लोकगुरो दशरथनन्दन लोकगुरो रावणमर्दन राम नमो रावणमर्दन राम नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम्. Yes, so you must have guessed what this avatara is. Today's story is about the beloved Sri Ramachandra, and so much is told about Sri Rama, so much is sung about Lord Rama, so many people have written the story of Rama, right? But the couple of famous ones are Valmiki's Ramayana and the Ramacharitamanus of Sri Tulsidas ji. Whichever the story is, the basic story is the same, right? And why is everybody interested in Ramavatara? Why did Bhagwan have to take this form of a human being and come? And you know something? From here, this and the next one, Bhagwan was on earth for a very long time. In all other avatars, he came for that purpose and left. Parashurama was slightly longer, right? There also he came as a human being and it was quite a long stay. Lord Rama's manifestation was a much longer one. And so many things happened in this lifespan of Bhagwan's avatara on earth as Lord Rama. And why did he have to come? As always, it is for the good of the good and the bad of the bad. Meaning what? The good have to be protected and the evil has to be destroyed. Isn't it? It is always the case. We cannot allow the evil to grow, whether it is inside us or in the society outside. And so Bhagwan has promised, Sambhavami yuge yuge, I will keep coming Why? Dharma samsthapanarthaya. To make sure that everything is going as per dharma. And if something moves away from dharma, he will wait and see how much people will come back to the path of dharma. And if it goes beyond a point, Bhagwan will definitely arrive. And you all remember when we did the story of Hiranyaksha, we talked about the curse that was given to Jaya and Vijaya, the security guards in Vaikuntha. You remember that, right? So we finished one set of Avatara where Jaya and Vijaya came down as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, the brothers. Now the next Janma of Jaya and Vijaya has to happen, and it is in this Avatara they come as Ravana and Kumbhakarna. So Ravana, Kumbhakarna and Vibhishana, the three Asura brothers. And they, all three of them sat to do tapas. And they invoked Lord Brahma with their intense tapas. Lord Brahma arrived. And Ravana was the first one to ask for his boons. Ask for his boon. He asked for immortality, and obviously Lord Brahma said, that's not in my hands to give you. I am only the creator. So again, this Asura also gave like a blueprint, and he said, I should not be killed by any gods. I can be killed by a human being, because he was very confident that with his strength and power, no human being can bother him. Lord Brahma said Tathastu. And next, the turn was Kumbhakarna's. And Indra in the heavens was afraid, because Kumbhakarna had decided before he sat for tapas that he wanted Indra's asana, the throne of Indra. He wanted to be the king of the heavens. And Indra knew that, and he went to Mother Saraswati and said, Mother, can you put something else on his tongue and make sure that he doesn't ask for my asana, my throne? Mother Saraswati smiled. Not that she was going to do it only for Indra's sake, but this had to be done for the reason Bhagwan was going to be manifesting as Lord Rama. There was a larger purpose. Otherwise, just for Indra's sake, you think she would have done it? No. So, when Kumbhakarna's tapas was at its peak, Lord Brahma arrived and said, Son, ask what you want. And Kumbhakarna said, Lord Brahma, I want Nidra's asana. You know, Indra's asana became Nidra's asana. And what is Nidra? Kumbhakarna had asked for sleep. Oh. Lord Brahma said, oh, sure. So for 6 months, you're going to be in Nidra's asana. You're going to be in the sleep posture. And the other 6 months you can be awake. And Kumbhakarna suddenly wondered, oh, what did I ask for? But it was done, and Brahma had disappeared. Next was Vibhishana. Vibhishana was a very sattvic asura. He was a very good asura. He was more actually towards the Deva side only, and very little asuri characters in him. Anyway, but he was born in the family of asuras. And so when Bhagwan said, I am pleased with your tapas, Vibhishana, ask what you want. Vibhishana said, let me always have devotion to Bhagwan. What a beautiful boon to ask by an asura. And Lord Brahma was very happy, and he smiled and said, Tathastu. Bhagwan will come and you will be with Bhagwan, and you will always be in the thought of the Lord. So the three brothers got their boons. Now Ravana felt that he was invincible. He is like, I'm almost immortal only, because no god can kill me, and humans are not even capable of bothering me, forget kill me. So this was his arrogance, and because of that arrogance, even though he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, Ravana should not be underestimated. He was actually a very devoted soul, devoted to Lord Shiva. But he allowed his pride and arrogance to grow in him. And the two things cannot exist at the same time. You cannot, have devotion to Bhagwan and at the same time be arrogant and proud. Only one thing at a time. And so slowly, from being the great devotee of Lord Shiva, slowly his arrogance had taken over and it started bothering all the people around him. All the good people were suffering under his rule. He was the Lord of Lanka, and of course Lanka people were taken good care of. Lanka was a splendor filled city and everything, the best was there, because he had actually stolen things from his brother Kubera, and he had even stolen that Pushpaka Vimana from there. And his arrogance really was reaching the zenith, it was reaching the peak. And all the devas and Mother Earth, actually in the form of a cow, she went and met, along with Lord Brahma also. They all went to Lord Vishnu and said, Bhagwan, please do something, because we are unable to tolerate Ravana's bad acts, Ravana's evil acts. People are suffering. Bhagwan smiled and said, yes, it is time for me to arrive on earth. And so Bhagwan took birth where? He didn't take normal birth. You know the story of how Dasharatha, who had 3 queens, didn't have any children to continue after him, and so he did the Putra Kameshti Yajna, at the end of which came a pot of kheer, payasam, and this payasam was distributed among his 3 wives but 4 times, and so he had 4 sons, the eldest being Rama, and this was the avatara that Bhagwan had taken as the child of King Dasharatha and Queen Kausalya. And he had 3 brothers, Bharata, who was born of Mother Kaikeyi, and Mother Sumitra had Lakshmana and Shatrughna. So these were the 4 brothers, and they grew up to be very handsome, very skilled, very knowledgeable, and very gentle young princes. And they were always seen somehow in pairs. Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna. But Rama was equally loving to all his brothers. And in fact, he was the darling of the whole kingdom. And what kingdom did they rule? He belonged to the Ikshwaku family, and the place he ruled was the kingdom of Kosala, the capital of which was the city of Ayodhya, and this was situated on the banks of the beautiful river Sarayu. Rama grew up to be the best in everything, whether it was archery or studies, whatever he was taught, he was always the best at it. And once it so happened that sage Vishwamitra arrived at the court of Dasharatha and requested him to send Rama to kill some of the Rakshasas who were troubling his yajna, which that yajna had to be done at night. And night is the time of the Asuras. And the Asuras would throw all dirt, meat and blood and flesh and everything into the Homa Kunda. And after that you cannot do the Homa because it has been dirty. So Vishwamitra came with this request. And after a little hesitation, Dasharatha sent Rama, along with whom Lakshmana also went. And the 2 princes accompanied sage Vishwamitra and very easily destroyed the Rakshasas. But one among them, Maricha, was not killed, but he was thrown 100 yojanas away across the sea. And Maricha after that would never forget Rama. The name Rama would ring terror in his mind was constantly on Rama. Why was he spared? Because Bhagwan always has a reason for everything he does. And so this also had a purpose. Maricha was required later. Anyway, so for now, everything was taken care of in Vishwamitra's ashram, and the sage took the 2 princes to the kingdom of Videha, Mithila, and the Raja there was Raja Janaka, who had a beautiful daughter. He had 4 daughters, but the beautiful daughter he had was Janaki or Sita or Vaidehi. And Sita was not just beautiful. She was the incarnation of Mother Lakshmi herself, born not directly to King Janaka, but Janaka had found this beautiful baby girl in his garden when he tried to dig in order to make a Yajnashala he was trying to build, and he found this baby and he took her home and brought her up as his most favorite child. And she was also very adept at various skills and she was highly knowledgeable. She was in fact on par with Rama. Right? Now sage Vishwamitra had brought these princes there for a reason. King Janaka had arranged the Swayamvara of Sita and he had kept a contest. He had been given the bow that belonged to Rudra, the bow that belonged to Lord Shiva. And that bow, he said, whoever lifts that bow and strings it will marry my daughter Sita. This was the condition. Many princes had come from far and away, and sage Vishwamitra took these two princes also to this for the same purpose. And of course, Lord Rama, the best archer ever, so with ease he picked up the bow and strung it, and Sita was offered to Rama in marriage, and the other three daughters married Rama's brothers. So all the four brothers were married and they were coming back home to Ayodhya. And at that time an interesting episode happens. You know, we did the avatara of Parashurama in the previous episode. Now when Rama, Bharata, Shatrughna, Lakshmana, all of them were going back to Ayodhya, Rama was stopped by Parashurama. You know, Bhagwan meets Bhagwan. He met himself in a different form. Isn't that very interesting? As I had mentioned to you in the last episode, Parashurama is someone who is going to be here till the end of Kali Yuga. And he came there. He said, look, I have this bow with me. And if you can string the bow and strike an arrow, I will offer all my tapas to you. Lord Rama said, oh sure, that is no difficult task. And he strung the bow again and he said, tell me, where do you want to direct this arrow? Parashurama said, okay, I accept defeat and all my tapas I gather, and please strike the arrow and destroy all my tapas. That was a very strange request, but Rama all the same knew what was happening, and he released the arrow and destroyed all the tapas, the phala of the tapas that Parashurama had done. And Parashurama went off to the Himalayas to meditate yet again, to do more tapas. He has to be there, right, for a very, very long time. This was an interesting episode of Bhagwan meeting Bhagwan. Alright, so they finally continue their journey and reach Ayodhya, and everything is well, all going well. The kingdom, the people are very happy with their king, the princes, and their brides. There's a lot of celebration. And then in a couple of years, something interesting happened. King Dasharatha was getting old, and so he wanted to name his successor, and everybody knew very well that it was going to be the eldest prince, Rama. Now, Rama was also told the next morning he was going to be crowned prince, and he was going to take over the kingdom after Dasharatha. And at the same time, somebody else's mind was thinking differently. Queen Kaikeyi had a maid, Manthara. And this Manthara, for some reason, caught this unnecessary evil thought in her that if Rama becomes the next king, then Kausalya will become queen mother and Kaikeyi will have no position. Oh, my queen will have no position, and that's not okay with me. So she went to Kaikeyi and poisoned her mind. She said, Kaikeyi, do you know that tomorrow Rama is going to be crowned? Kaikeyi said, yes, my Rama is going to be crowned. Manthara, I'm so happy, I'm so delighted. Manthara looked at her and said, you are a fool, O queen. Do you not see the whole thing? Bharata has been sent away and Rama is going to be crowned tomorrow. And after that, Mother Kausalya is going to be queen mother. And who is going to care for you? Suddenly Kaikeyi thought, oh, I never thought of it this way. Manthara said, think it over. Is this how you want it to be? Bharata will be a nobody. Rama will not give him any position. And nobody will care for you. Kaikeyi was thinking, oh, no. I would like, Bharata cannot be a nobody. No, Manthara, this is not going to happen. Manthara said, you don't know, Kaikeyi, power corrupts. And you better ask the king to make Bharata the crown prince. Kaikeyi thought, but how can I do that? Rama is the eldest prince. Manthara smiled and said, have you forgotten? King Dasharatha owes you 2 boons. Ask him now. And so the boons were again brought back from memory. And Kaikeyi did her drama. And Dasharatha had to pacify her, and he said, how can I send my beloved Rama to the forest? Kaikeyi, please change your mind. Kaikeyi was adamant and stubborn and said, no. 2 boons. With 1 boon, Bharata becomes king, and with the 2nd boon, Rama goes to forest. He goes to exile for 14 years. This is what I want. Dasharatha was heartbroken. She would not listen. And then she also said, if you don't keep up your boons, this is adharma. You are going to incur sin, and everybody will point a finger at you and say, look at King Dasharatha, he could not keep up 2 vows that he had given his wife. So Dasharatha was really not left with much choice. And so, but then Rama, he did not even think for a moment. He said, Father, why are you worried? It's only for 14 years. And after all, who will rule the place? It is our beloved Bharata. What is the problem in this? Mother Kaikeyi, don't worry. Your wishes shall be fulfilled. I will leave for the forest right away. And she says, you cannot go in these clothes. You have to wear saffron clothes. Go like a hermit. Go like a sage. Rama said, after all, when I'm going to the forest, who needs these princely clothes anyway? So, it was it that Rama was going to the forest for 14 years. And Lakshmana could not bear this. And he said, brother, I'm coming with you. And then Sita said, Lord, I have no place without you. And I follow you. Wherever you go, there I will be. And she brings out a lot of the thing about how it is the dharma of the wife to be with her husband, especially at such times and everything. And so, it was that Rama, Lakshmana and Sita left for the forest. People of Ayodhya were in tears, but nevertheless it had to happen. And the story goes that Rama went from place to place, that he built ashram from place to place, and in one particular place, Bharata had come back here in Ayodhya from his uncle's house, and he came to know about the whole thing. By then father had died, Dasharatha had left the body, and Bharata was so upset and angry with his mother, he decided that he would go to the forest and bring back Rama and ensure that he accepts the throne. And so he came to the ashram where Rama was staying, and no matter what he tried, Rama refused and said, I have to keep up my father's word. This is dharma as of now, and this is what will happen. So Bharata took Rama's sandals and went back to Ayodhya, and he ruled Ayodhya from a small village called Nandigram, where he set up a small hut and lived exactly how Rama, Lakshmana and Sita lived here, and he did not sit on the throne at all. Only Rama's sandals was placed on the throne. Alright, so Lord Rama's journey continues, and in one particular place, Shurpanakha, sister of Ravana, came there and tried to entice Lakshmana. She tried to entice Rama, and Rama said, "Look, I'm a married man. You can see my wife here. But my brother is free." And then she went to entice Lakshmana. And then Lakshmana was so angry with her. He took the sword and he first said no. Right? And when Lakshmana said no, she got angry. Shurpanakha was very upset with both the brothers. And she said, "It is this woman who is the cause for all this." And she went to attack Sita. And at that time Lakshmana took his sword and cut off her nose. And she shrieked in pain and she ran to her brother and said, "Brother, look at what these two princes have done to me." And Ravana asked, "Dear sister, what happened? What happened?" And then she tells the story in her own way and says, "All this is because of that lady. But you know, she's extremely beautiful. And such beauty should be in your court, not somewhere there in the forest." And Ravana was smitten. And something came over him and said that I must have this lady with me. And so he went then he went to Maricha. You remember Maricha, who was spared in that first attack with the Asuras in sage Vishwamitra's Yagashala? The same Maricha. Ravana approached Maricha and said, "I have some work for you. You must lure away Rama. You go as a golden deer in front of Rama's ashram, and Sita will want it, and Rama will go to get that deer for her, and you run as far as you can, and I will go and kidnap Sita." Maricha looked at Ravana and said, "Ravana, do you have any idea who Rama is and what his capacity is?" Ravana said, "I don't care. Nobody is more powerful than I am. Why are you afraid when I am there?" Maricha thought, "Oh my God, how do I convince this fellow?" Ravana said, "Look, either you agree to this plan that I am proposing, or I will kill you right away." Maricha thought, "It's better I die at the hands of Bhagwan than die at your hands." And then he said, "Fine, I'll do it." And so it was that Maricha took the form of a golden deer and walked in front of the ashram where Sita was sitting there tying flowers and Rama was sitting next to her. And she said, "Oh Lord, look at that lovely golden deer. I've never really asked you for anything, but can you please get me that golden deer?" Both Rama and Lakshmana tried to explain to her that was an Asura who had come there in the form of a golden deer. But she wouldn't listen and she made a fuss. And so Rama left. And at that time, these two were in the ashram and suddenly she heard, "Hey Lakshmana, hey Sita, hey Lakshmana, hey Sita." She heard Rama's voice. And she told Lakshmana, "Lakshmana, your brother is in trouble. Go, help him." Lakshmana said, "My brother can never be in trouble. It is all the work of that Asura. You know they use magic. Why are you doing this to me, mother?" She said, "Go and rescue your brother. I will not hear anything else." And Lakshmana said, "All right, since you're insisting, I will go. But I put this line across this ashram and you will not step outside this, mother. This is for your own protection." She says, "All right, I will not. Then nothing will happen to me. You go first, help your brother." And Lakshmana left. And at that time, Ravana came. He didn't come as a 10-headed Ravana. He came as a sage. And he came and asked, "Bhavati Bhikshan Dehi." And when a Brahmana comes asking for Bhiksha, always the lady of the house never turns him away. So Sita said, "Please wait there." And she went inside and got some rice and she had to put it into his bowl. And he said, "Why don't you step out and give it to me? You can't reach it from there." And she said, "Oh, but I'm not supposed to step out of this." And he says, "Just extend a little bit, mother. Just extend a little bit." And then she put one step out, and Ravana just pulled her by her hair and took her in. He was back to his Asura form, and he took her by in his Pushpaka Vimana and kept her captive in the Ashokavana of Lanka. And to make the long story short, Rama and Lakshmana, they go in search of Mother Sita, and along the way they are directed to the monkey clan Sugriva and Hanuman, and the meeting with Hanuman was the most significant because it was Hanuman who flew to Lanka and found Mother Sita and brought back the information, apart from destroying the half or more than half of Lanka. And with the help of the Vanara Sena, they built a bridge across the ocean. They reached Lanka, and in the meanwhile, Vibhishana, who tried to convince his brother, was unable to convince Ravana to return Sita. And he said, "I cannot stay anymore in this place of such adharma. I am leaving, brother." And Ravana said, "Go, get lost. I don't want a brother like you who's a traitor living in my kingdom." And so Vibhishana left, and he surrendered at the feet of Lord Rama. And while all others suspected, Lord Rama said, "Someone who comes and surrenders to me will always be accepted." And he gave Vibhishana protection under him. And Vibhishana helped them with many secrets of Lanka and many secrets on how Ravana could be killed, Indrajit's boon, so many aspects of the whole Lanka family. And with the help of Vibhishana, with the help of the Vanara Sena, the battle went on, and Ravana's people were all killed. And it was time that Bhagwan put an end to Ravana. Before that, Kumbhakarna was also woken up. He was in his 6-month sleep, but they forcefully woke him up, and that was his doom. When he was woken up like that and he came to fight, he was killed in the battle. And subsequently, Ravana too was killed by Bhagwan, and they went back to Vaikuntha as Jaya and Vijaya. And Bhagwan took back Mother Sita and went to Ayodhya and ruled for a long time. And he had 2 sons, Lava and Kusha. A lot of things happened there also, and he had to send Mother Sita away. She did not ever come back to Ayodhya. She lived in Valmiki Rishi's ashrama. She had her 2 children, Lava and Kusha, there. And one fine day, Mother Earth opened up and took back her daughter Sita into herself. And that was actually Mother Lakshmi, right? So Mother Lakshmi went back to Vaikuntha. And then Lakshmana actually was the incarnation of Sheshanaga, and he too left to Vaikuntha. And finally, Lord Rama also, Bhagwan gave up that avatara and went back to Vaikuntha as Lord Vishnu, because the purpose of that avatara was complete. And this avatara of Lord Rama is almost a Purna avatara, and Bhagwan is revered and worshipped and adored by everyone. Nobody can miss the story of Ramayana, the story of Lord Rama. And Bhagwan shows us so many ways of things in life, of how to live life. It's a beautiful story, the story of Rama, Ramayana, the path of Rama. And the word Rama also means reveling in joy, in bliss. And true to that, this manifestation of Bhagwan showed that no matter what happens in life, one can always go through it with a smile. Do what we have to do, stick by dharma, always with a smile on your face. And this is one of the most famous avatars of Lord Vishnu. So famous that in fact in our Dashavatara Stotram we say Rama Hare. Okay, so this ends the story session on Lord Rama. Now this is trying to squeeze Ramayana into one tiny capsule, which is very hard to do, but I've done my best. Next Avatara was even longer in the sense so many stories, but we will keep it short. We will end the session as usual with the Dashavatara Stotram. नामस्मरणादन्योपायं नहि पश्यामो भवतरणे राम हरे कृष्ण हरे तव नाम वदामि सदा नृहरे वेदोद्धार विचारमते सोमकदानव संहरणे मीनाकार शरीर नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् मन्थानाचलधारण हेतो देवासुर परिपालन भोः कूर्माकार शरीर नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् भूचोरकहर पुण्यदमूर्ते क्रोढोद्धृत भूतेश हरे क्रोढाकार शरीर नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् हेमकशिपुतनुधारण हेतो प्रह्लादासुरपालन भोः नरसिंहाच्युत रूप नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् क्षितिपति वंश संभव मूर्ते क्षितिपति रक्षा क्षतमूर्ते भृगुपति राम वरेण्य नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम् सीतावल्लभ दाशरथे दशरथ नन्दन लोकगुरो रावण मर्दन राम नमो हरिभक्तं ते परिपालय माम्. Until the next avatara, Hari Om.